All right, aloha, Tulsi Kratz and Indie Kratz, and those of you who are here because there's nowhere else for you to go. The hard left is insane. The hard right is pretty much right there with them. And the moderates don't really believe in anything. And you found a candidate and maybe a channel that represents the majority of what you believe in. And you don't do identity politics. You don't care about bean counting. You don't care about how much pigmentation is in someone's skin. You don't care really about which sexual orientation they are. You care mostly about issues that affect you from day to day. And hence you're here, both with the channel and with Tulsi Gabbard, who, quite honestly, this is her in Las Vegas. Look, I get it. The Bernie rallies are big. There's a lot of people that show up for Bernie Sanders. Bernie's got residual income, basically, that comes in from the last presidential campaign. And some of it, by the way, some of that residual income was created by Tulsi Gabbard, who stood shoulder to shoulder with Bernie Sanders and stepped down as a co-chair of the DNC and decided to stick with Bernie and be courageous. She's one of the few politicians in my lifetime that actually does things based on principle. And she doesn't care what those consequences are. This speech, she does a fantastic job calling out this smear campaign, the Russian bots and the Assad apologists. Oh, no, she can't say it. Yeah, but she can certainly talk about ending regime change war, which none of you all want to talk about. Is Assad a brutal dictator? Yes, and she has said this repeatedly, by the way. For those of you on Twitter who pretend that, Tulsi Gabbard is just hanging out with Assad at his mansion, sipping wine and plotting the next extermination of Assad's own people and so forth, you guys are pretty much insane. And you lose so much credibility when you can't even argue on issues. You're basically little Kamala Harris people running around saying things like, oh, it's because you don't like people of color. Really? Because I like, right here is Tulsi Gabbard. She happens to be a person of color. And again, if you want to play the politically correct identity politics game, okay, this channel isn't for you. Go over to TYT, okay? Go over to any number of network television broadcasts that promote this garbage day in and day out, fomenting a civil war, causing things like mass shootings where people get bitter, angry, and they just, combined with, obvious mental health issues. Do you think this is good to be broadcasting this garbage day after day to millions of people who, look, you have to have something else wrong with you. But what I'm saying is that Tulsi Gabbard is about aloha. She's about bridging those gaps. And let's listen to a little bit of this rally from Vegas, because Tulsi, here at this rally, she is just hitting it out of the park. Her supporters get it now. There are a lot of people that are jumping on board. And by the way, welcome. I'm not saying anything like better late than never or where you been. Look, when you got a media blackout, when everybody is saying that you're a Russian bot, there are people that just believe it, and they don't research it. They're busy. They've got lives to lead. They've got kids to take care of. They got school to attend to. Whatever it is that you do, I get it. You can't be sitting around 24/7 parsing everything that everybody says. Let's listen to Tulsi.
Change in the tide that is coming about as the powers that be recognize they cannot turn down the volume on our voices. We are too loud. We will only grow stronger. And as we've seen what's possible through these last debates, you recognize how important it is that all of you made it possible for me to be there in the first place.
People-driven campaign, people. This isn't about big money donors. This isn't about Kamala Harris, who basically, people haven't even spoken about this recently, but Kamala Harris inherited all of Hillary Clinton's campaign structure. You want Hillary Redux? You're going to get it if you vote for Kamala Harris, but most people, have kind of left the Kamala Harris campaign, except a few of her fervent supporters, all of the Russian hoaxers, all of those people that just, they still can't come to grips with Donald Trump. So they have to find a way in their life to make themselves, I guess, feel better. I'm not even sure what it's about now. There is some type of weird derangement syndrome going on. And again, wake up in the morning. Abraham Lincoln said, you kind of make yourself as happy as you want to be. And of course, I'm misquoting what he said, but he had the right idea.
You did that. Not me. You did that. And you've made it possible for us to hit that next benchmark, to continue to qualify for the next debate.
Big news, people. She just blew by that goal. Now she's over 150,000 unique donors and climbing rapidly, much like this channel. I wish I had 150,000 subscribers, but hey, $5,000, that's pretty good for a guy who's just a big fan of Tulsi and understands that both political parties have some big-time problems.
You did that. So when I tell you, truly, this is a people-powered campaign. It is a people-powered campaign. And when people ask, well, what kind of president will Tulsi be? I'll be the kind of president that I'm being now as we lead this campaign. It is one of, by, and for the people.
Okay, so, a lot of people, I just mentioned Lincoln. A lot of people don't know that's Abraham Lincoln who said this. They just think it goes back to the early founders. It goes back to Lincoln. I think it was in the Gettysburg Address, if I'm not mistaken. And this is something that, by the way, and you going back in time and you're thinking, okay, the great emancipator, considered maybe the greatest president we've ever had, Tulsi Gabbard invoking that spirit of greatness. And, do I compare Tulsi Gabbard to Abraham Lincoln? No, but the fact that she has harnessed a concept that has been lost over recent years because politicians are very self-serving people. I think it's fascinating that Americans are, glomming on to this message because guess what? Nobody talks this way anymore. Nobody says of, for, and by the people. They basically say, hey, what can you do for me as an individual? I'm a special interest group. What are you going to do for me? I'm a lobbyist. What can you do for me? I'm Wall Street.
I am for the people. This is how we unite our country. This is how we come together. Recognizing the power of the principles that are found in those documents, our Constitution, our Bill of Rights.
Again, our Constitution. Hey, libertarians. Some conservatives who understand that there are people in our society that are going to need a little bit of help, and that rather than putting all our money over in military interventions in places that we don't belong, we can bring it home. You can still be your conservative self, and Medicare for all could be, the law of the land, or affordable health care at least, or college education rather than a rip-off system, a scam, a Ponzi scheme. We could have actual vocational training so people can get jobs and get out there and actually earn a great living rather than get out of college and have nothing waiting for them. Come on, we can do better, and Tulsi wants us to do better. And she knows it's up to us again. It's not up to the government. It's up to us. We're the ones that have to invoke these new policies and be the ones to champion them and to go out and vote for them. It's pretty simple. And she's a great leader to do that.
Things that we take for granted sometimes until they're under attack and start being taken away from us. These freedoms are what unite us. Let's stand together, fight for each other, fight for our freedoms as we do the tough work necessary to strive towards that more perfect union. Only we can do that. And I'm so grateful that you've chosen to come here and stand with me in this fight and in this movement. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Okay, that's a leader. That's somebody with a message. That's somebody with a vision. That's somebody with a heart. I could go on and on. You know, I look, when I changed up this channel a little bit, I told people the reason is I didn't want to use Tulsi's name and then misrepresent her or have somebody say, hey, that guy who's running the channel who's named after you, he's saying some stuff that I don't think you would agree with. And look, I am still 1,000% for Tulsi Gabbard. You know, there are some questions that I have, and I've put them out there in videos. I'm hoping that if this doesn't end well, that the DNC doesn't co-opt her message, co-opt her money, all those sorts of things. And those are questions that other smarter people who can, you know, get closer to Tulsi to ask those questions. And I'm sure she'll have great answers on them. I'm not worried about it. What I'm most concerned about is getting her message out and knowing that there is basically almost like a blackout or a moratorium. It's getting harder, though, for them to turn the volume down, as she said, on this message. There's just too much good stuff happening. And for those of us who understand what's at stake, we get that foreign policy, everything kind of flows down off of that because that's our biggest expenditure. We just signed another, didn't we just sign another bill for, $750 billion, and Democrats, Republicans, yay! That's the only thing they can ever agree on. Yay, more military spending, more money coming home to my district, to all the bases and the military contractors. We have a war-based economy, people. We can't keep doing this forever. We've done it for long enough. We need to find another way to stimulate our economy, and I would say infrastructure would be at the top of that list. You want to put people to work, people who don't want to join the military, who don't want to work for a military contractor, who may not have the skill sets. Look, this is the best way. I mean, FDR did it. There are a lot of other presidents out there. Eisenhower, I believe, did the road system, right? So instead of doing this giant military-industrial complex where then you have the cheerleaders and the media leading it on, you should have the giant infrastructure complex where normal, decent American citizens can sign on and be a part of something great to rebuild their country and to earn great pay while helping do something that has to get done. And so Tulsi, she'd lead the way. She'd be that kind of president. All right, it's up to us, folks. We're the ones that have to be the change. And you've heard this before. It sounds like a cliche. I am not a hardline progressive, nor am I a dyed-in-the-wool conservative. I'm just somebody who sees one issue, and then I talk about that one issue. I see another issue. I don't like identity politics. I don't like the tribalism. I don't like Twitter because it's a cesspool, and people go on there to try to throw insults at each other. And the more clever you are, the more retweets you get. It's not about being in a popularity contest. It's about doing what's best for the country, and that's why I support Tulsi Gabbard for president, and that's why you should support Tulsi as well. Wouldn't it be amazing if we got her to like 200,000 unique donors? More importantly, if that phone rings, or if you get that message about, hey, who are you supporting? And I would ask a few Bernie supporters to start considering switching to Tulsi Gabbard. Bernie is not going to get this nomination. And I'd rather see Tulsi up there against the corporate establishment candidate than Bernie Sanders, because I think she's got a better chance. She's been more talked about. She won the 2 debates she was in, and quite honestly, I think her performance was better than Bernie Sanders, and she's just tracking upward and onward, and she's got a ton of room to grow. I know there are infrastructure problems as far as her campaign. It's a lean campaign versus Bernie Sanders. But you know what? It doesn't take money. It just takes votes, and we need to get out there and vote. So that's my opinion. I'm thrilled to be backing a winner. Even if she doesn't, cross the finish line, I can sleep at night knowing that I picked a candidate I can be proud of, and she would make a great president of the United States of America. All right, I'm done. Remember, don't forget to help me out on Patreon if you can. Also, one-time donations, I will put the email address associated with my PayPal account, and you do what you think you can do. I had a great donation yesterday, and I already thanked that person. Please, if you can help me out, it's much appreciated. Aloha, and I'll see you soon.